Hello and good evening. Welcome to our weekly ladder race here for Final Fantasy Worlds Collide. I am one of your commentators, Seto Kaiba, and with me is Saberwolf.
Hey everybody, how you doing tonight? Sorry for the little delay there.
Yes, we apologize, but we're ready to get going in a minute. We have a first round matchup between Fiktah and Jones of our playoff battle royale free for all.
Yep, that's correct. We have two of our runners. We are down to the top 10 now runners for this evening. So just one little last minute prep here and be ready to go. But like I said, we're in the top 10 round. We're in the playoffs. So the top four coming out of this round for the ladder will be moving on to the semifinals. And then the top two from that round will be going on to the absolute finals, which will be a definitely head-to-head. So just a little preview of what could happen later on. We have a little head-to-head match, like Seto said. We have Fiktah and Jones, which are, like I said, two of our top 10 runners. Once again, this is the ladder series. So we have 6 characters needed on 10 espers. Dragons do not matter unless you want to get the levels. And we do have a 3-character start. Which, a little tip, by the way, before we go, will actually looks like it's going to be Edgar, Celeste, and Setzer, which is going to be amazing 3 characters to start with. And if you want to run your own series on the Worlds Collide, just head over to our webpage, which is the FF6WC.com. It also has the link to our Discord and the wiki page for all the information you need to know about this little ditty we got here. Once again, this is the Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide, and not too much longer to be going here. So timer has started, and we are go.
Looks like it's our runner should be starting in a minute.
There we go. There we go.
I'm gonna just do a quick reset of the timer so we're a little more accurate. But we are now off.
We got Celeste with Morph. I saw a sketch on one of them, and I did not see what Edgar had there.
I don't believe it was anything too useful. I ran this seed earlier this week, and I believe it was not the best start.
Yeah, that's true. I actually didn't run this seed myself. Usually I try to run these beforehand, but I actually elected not to do it this time around. So I'm going to be a little surprised this time. Edgar has Morph. Celeste is Vanilla with natural magic, so Celeste is completely vanilla. And Setzer had the sketch.
Yeah, not the best. Yeah, those are not the best starting abilities for that you want to see with your 3 characters. It's definitely be a hard start, not a lot of immediate options. So we'll see what equipment they can find in their initial checks.
It looks like Fiktah went an early South Figaro, not electing to go to the returners first. Sometimes going to returners first helps because it gets you a couple of items that you can try to sell to get a little bit more money to buy any important items there.
Right, but Fiktah is taking advantage of the fact that he has Egder in his party, where
yes.
where World of Ruin, putting Egder in front of your party for South Figaro results in everything being half price. Especially doing that right away, since there are certain items and consumables you want to buy, like Phoenix Downs, and money's a little tighter. Saving that money really can go a long way early on.
Yeah, and this of the 3 character starts that you could have, the only possible one that might be better would be Terra instead of Edgar. Well, no, not even. I think this is like one of the best starts you can get because you get Setzer's free check. You also get the access to the airship's quick check of trying to get the zone seek, and you have Celeste, who also has a free check in the basement. And and you also get Edgar's discounts. So this is probably one of the better starts you could probably have in a 3-person seed.
And you get access to an early dragon with Ancient Castle as well. They definitely are 3 solid characters, and then Edgar in Celeste's case also has a solid equipment pool as well. So, maybe not Murder Child level of potential offense, but it's going to be solid between all of them.
Yeah, this is a pretty core group. I mean, Setzer in the vanilla version of the game, probably not. I mean, he's only good for piloting the ship, unless you get the fixed dice, and that's another story.
That's right, but in Worlds Collide, fixed dice on a high tier level for speedrunning isn't typically the fastest strategy, but sometimes you just kind of deal with what you're given.
And we do have our first find of the game. That is Shadow, who is locked up in shackles in the Celeste check. He actually has... I don't know.
Sorry, it was a little quick. I'm trying to troubleshoot a few things at the moment. But Cyan, also a great character check-wise. You really get... you have Doma Castle, which is very quick. You have Mountain Zozo, which is free, bunch of treasure, and a dragon. And then Cyan's Dream, honestly, a lot quicker than most people might give it credit to. And you get 3 checks, including a guaranteed Esper character out of it. So...
I'm being told that Shadow has Jump, which is a great ability to have in these randomizers.
That's right. One endgame build typically involves Dragon Boots for jump, Dragon Horns to have multiple jumps, and then either a spear or a fixed dice. And so having a natural jumper means you don't have to find the boots, and you can even do something like equip a gauntlet as one of your relics to enable jumping. So you like to see that. It's on its own, maybe not amazing, but it can really open up some crazy builds at the end.
Whoa! Okay, so we have Carbuncle on the free Setzer check. I saw Ice 3 and Fire 3 on that one. That's going to be good spells to have.
Right, but the Fire 3 is ×1, so it's going to take a while to learn that. ×1 is very slow. Even a dragon only gives you 50 MP, so you have to fight 2 dragons to learn a spell at ×1. But that Ice 3 should be learned very quickly.
Yeah, Ice 3 was a ×4, and we're early enough in the sea that we could probably going to get that learned. At least maybe on 2 characters.
That's right. As someone who ran the seed earlier, I'll try not to reference that too much, but Ice 3, it was a huge boon early on, and I'm sure these runners are going to make learning that a priority.
Right on. Okay, so we're still in our shopping stages. We're fitting into little quick checks. I'm pretty sure that these shadow checks coming up very soon for Jones, right now. So there you go. Fiktah is not doing the shadow check. He's actually going to World of Ruin, doing South Africa World Part 2.
That's right, and looks like he sees earrings and is going to make buying that a priority, which is definitely a smart idea. Earrings, great filler relic, typically one I immediately shoot for, sometimes overvalue, but 2 of them will give you 50% more increased magic power. And with that Ice 3, that is going to be some pretty good early offense.
Yep, and he has 4 of them in stock right now, so he's all stocked up with that. No, just hitting that and then leaving. Okay. Yeah. That's all I was looking for. And on the shadow check there, that was an Esper with Starlet.
Yep. So both of our runners are at 2 Espers already, pretty much running the same routes at the same kind of speed at the moment. Pretty neck and neck at right now. It would be interesting to see how our first few checks shape out, but they're both playing at a very optimized level in the early game.
Yeah, the first about 10 minutes of these kind of runs are just collecting your items and stuff, because your characters, when you have them, when you start in the group for this Worlds Collide, FF6WC.com, when you start out with your characters, you start out with your starter gear from the original game. So they start with just bare bones gear, and in Celeste's case, she starts with basically nothing but a hairband. So it's very important to run around, try to get those free item chests, those big cluster chest areas and item locations, like South Figaro, like I believe it's Miranda, I always forget that one, what the name of it is, in Returner's Cave, where they have high volumes of chests and stuff that you can just raid. before you go on your merry way into the seed. And usually about the first 10 minutes, you're probably doing that.
That's right. A lot of, treasure is kind of the big thing early on. That's really what our runners are looking for. Treasure, because either good items or sell for money to buy good items. And balancing both check out early shops while making sure you get your checks in is one of the hardest things that runners have to kind of do.
And Jones is doing a pretty good one here, because this actually gives you a couple little battles up in the rafters before you get to that first boss. And since we already did a 2 more progression here, because we got actually 3 more progression, because we got a character and 2 espers, those level 3s are not looking good right now. So this will give you a couple battles before actually getting to that boss, because this is scaled when you get characters and espers.
That's right. But like you said, it could end up being 2 birds with 1 stone. When speedrunning, you don't want to stop and take random battles to level up. You like to ideally balance your progression with fights you are forced to take, like this. And this is actually...
But Muse is kind of rough.
It's actually... Well, it's pretty good because the other set of enemies here are a lot tougher.
Oh, but Pep-Up actually kill themselves. I forgot about that.
Exactly, and they have Doom Darts and Wing Edge for 2 instant death on top of it. So this actually might be a big difference maker. When I did this run, I ran into a Muse and I ended up resetting out. And when I came back in, all the rest of the fights were very high level enemies, and most people were complaining about that. So if Jones gets lucky and gets mostly Muses here, over the other pack of enemies that is here, like, he might be able to pull some levels out with relative ease.
Yeah, those are not bad. Oh, but there is the Madame and the veterans. That is not what you want to see. Do not turn him into one up. No!
Good miss. Woo. But yes, this is
okay.
This is what I was talking about. This is the other set of enemies that I believe most of our runners who've already ran this seed have faced. And at level 6, these guys are endgame enemies. They are very hard to take out, which is why you see Jones attempting to run away.
Run, dude! There you go. Sets are used to riding in a ship, not used to running around. So had a hard time there trying to get away. And oh boy, here we go again. You know what? Just use a warp stone. Let's move on.
That's right. But getting a battle in with the Muses, if Fiktah doesn't run into those same ones, this really could give Jones an early edge. And then getting the preemptive there makes it very easy to also run away. So, facing some pretty good levels going into this first boss.
So we did get a couple levels on one of the Muse fights, so that's going to help a little bit, but still no real good spells of worth right now.
Just Ice 3. I don't know if he had a chance to learn that with those MP or not. We'll see in a second in this boss battle here.
Or even has the MP to actually cast the spells.
That's right.
Well, here we go in the first battle of the evening. We have... Wow, Kefka! Okay, we're going to see him a little early tonight.
This is a solid first battle. He doesn't have too much HP, his attacks at this level are perfectly manageable, and he drops a decent amount of experience and magic points, something that not all bosses might do. And so...
Oh, Ice Rod works.
Yeah, especially with the rods, this should hopefully not be a problem for Jones. This is one of the better bosses to run into early.
Ooh. Well, Edgar with a throwing item, he could actually probably get in the back row and try not to take as much damage there. But this is a race where you just try to get for speed, so menuing is always a problem. I always find myself having issues with that. So, having a little bit of time does save yourself. And that was a presenter on the screen for Fiktah. He checked the Narsh monster chest there.
Yeah, it's good, especially being at level 3 and having a few options. If you could run into a Gigantor's or PM Stalkers can be great. He's obviously trying to get some experience before he starts his checks. So presenter, not what you want to see, but this pack could be very doable.
And here's what we're talking about, like trying to get a couple of fights before you get to a boss, where Fiktah is just doing some fights that doesn't really lead to anywhere, where Jones gets some fights but progressively got to where you need to go. So
and
could be helpful in the long run for saving time.
Fiktah, noticing that Hippocampus there was being instant killed and immediately reviving, indicating that is an undead enemy. Undead enemies can be killed easily with Revivifies and Phoenix Downs. When taking some of these boss battles here, or these random encounters, knowing what enemies are undead can make it very easy to clear them using items. And while Fiktah didn't know that originally, being able to see that and adapt on the fly is what makes him one of our better runners.
Right on, and we do have him swooping down to pick up the Celeste as Cat Hood, which is a dead check, but not a bad item.
No, it's helmets are not very good in Worlds Collide for the most part, and Cat Hood being one of the few exceptions. It halves a few elements, and it also increases your gold by 25%, I believe. So getting that early could really be a big difference maker in this run.
And picking up that free heal out of the bucket there in the beginner's house there.
Yes, this is a great area to take some levels because that you can very easily heal. Stuff like Sleeping Bags are expensive and can be painful to get, so knowing where the few free heals are is it's a very good knowledge to have.
Okay, do not fix your computer screens. That is definitely two cranes in the sky with a ship, but they're not on either side. This is the Zone Seek. When you have Setzer in your party, you're able to look for Zone Seek immediately in this variation of the game, so you can find that fight faster. So.
Yes, and so this is an interesting check. If you don't have Setzer, you still can run into this check, but with Setzer, it makes it very quick, fight the boss battle whenever you want kind of thing, which is one of the best checks in the game. It cannot result in a character, though. It can only result in an item or an Esper.
And a quick shout out to Brianna Fafena. She is doing our tracking for this evening, and she said 2 cranes in the sky with diamonds.
No, they're the Crane brothers. Looks like we need that updated.
Yep, that is not updated. I am Saberwolf. I'm joined by Sedekaiba, who's pulling double duty tonight with doing the comms and the restream. Again, Brianna's doing the tracking. And our 2 runners tonight, again, is Fiktah and WR Jones, 104. Please follow them on Twitch. And it is another Esper, so that's 3 Espers for Jones now. As looks like Fiktah's going down, down, down into the basements of the castle to root out the tentacle one.
Yeah, one of the things we mentioned at the beginning of the race is that, how strong the starting characters were check-wise. And both Edgar and Setzer have 3 checks that can be done very quick one after another. Jones electing to do Setzer's airship and Drell's tomb, right away, whereas Fiktah is doing Edgar's most likely all 3 checks here. It's very easy just to gain a bunch of progress real quick.
Oh, my goodness. That was... Yeah, okay, that's a nope on that one.
Yeah, that is level Pearl, which does damage based off your GP count, I believe. Which makes it very hard to predict, and he just got a little unlucky with the dice roll there, but that is going to wall him off unless he gets... either spends or gains some GP.
Yeah, so we're going to go to the Shadow check, which is Cave of the Velda, which is actually a peek check. You don't have to go through the entire check, because if you see at the other end, it's not a character, it's not an Esper that's laying on the ground. You can actually just nope back out, and you don't have to take credit to do the fight or anything else.
No, it's an item at that point. It's one of the few checks in the game that you can distinguish between an Esper and an item. There's not many checks that let you do that, and so knowing that lets you really kind of pop in and out real quick.
And just to rub it in, he just got some more gold out of a chest on that last one, so... That's a Telstar. That's not one you want to see in a I think that's a monster chest. Yep.
Yeah, with level Pearl, it's based off the last digit of your gold, I believe. So even gaining gold from chests doesn't really help you that much if they're all, divisible by 10. You need that right mode digit to increase to affect the damage.
Phoenix Esper has Bolt 2, so that covers her 3 major elements, Fire, Ice, and Bolt. And also has magic power +1 on level up. And that is an Esper for Fiktah if he gets through this fight.
Yeah, especially finding that early, that's going to be really, really big. Being able to throw in something like cells and just kind of go to town. She'll be a monster of magic at the end of the game.
And Cyan, being kind of creepy, he's sleeping in a crypt apparently. As we see, we have a Narapa on one side, and we have the Pooh Bears on the other.
That's right, and Narapa is not a hard fight, but one of the things about it is that she has Reflect, which means the magic that Jones learned won't really do that much good. However, also immune to instant death, and Jones has a whole bunch of instant death weapons, so he's probably hoping one of them procs and just auto kills Narapa for him.
And too bad nobody has pummel or anything. That was
There
an instant death from there you go.
That was exactly how you want to handle that. Narapa, normally a pretty easy fight, but depending on your setup with that Reflect and the Condemns, can be pretty lengthy and scary. But getting that instant death really just sped things up very quickly.
And that's Cyan with Throw, which is not a bad thing to have on Cyan.
Thank you so much.
Or Cyan, however you want to say it. People say it differently, it's kind of weird. But yeah, having Throw on Cyan, he has pretty good strength, so that should do pretty good damage there.
And that's something newcomers to the Worlds Collide community will quickly learn, is that none of us know how to pronounce any of these characters at all. Everyone has different pronunciations of Cyan, Celis, a few others, this not being a voice acted game, we all learn differently growing up, and we all have our ways, and it's a little bit of a meme with the community.
Well, that's the thing. When this game came out, Final Fantasy III, depending on when you were born, where you were born, this was Final Fantasy III for some of us, not 6. You were on your own. There was no internet where it could tell you or say their actual names for developers like that. You just had to figure out on your own when you were 10. So, so there you go. So right now we're going with Jones, who's taking the brand new Cyan, who he just picked up. Oh no, wait.
I believe the tracker.
No, I thought Jones picked up Cyan.
Yeah, I think the tracker is mixed up with that. I think Brianna will fix that backwards. In a second.
No worries. But so yeah, he's doing the Cyan check, which is kind of a free check through there, but that also gives you a dragon if you want to get the levels. Dragons are not required in the latter series, at least not in this one. We'll see what happens in the finals. But yeah, that could get you a big boost in levels, and of course, like you mentioned before, the ×1 on that, I think it was like Fire 3 there.
Fire 3, yeah.
That will definitely ramp it up a lot faster with that plus 50 magic there.
Right. Dragons, like you said, are not required, but since they're scaled, they really are not that tough of fights. And you gain a whole bunch of experience, like you said, 50 MP, so it makes it very easy to learn spells. And each dragon is guaranteed to drop a top tier item, a random top tier item. Could be an Illuma, could be a Genji helmet. The quality can really vary. But I always take as many dragons as I can. Those extra, very least the extra experience really will help you gain ahead of the scale, because it gains you experience without progressing the game at all.
So we has a white dragon on the screen. So Pearl probably not going to work on this one. There. Oh, that's a lot of damage. Yikes.
White dragon is very scary at the beginning because he can open with up to 3 pearls, or in this case 2 pearls and a Scar Beam.
Yeah, that's done. That's done. Oh no. Okay. No, we're still there.
Well, luckily after that, he becomes a lot easier. He doesn't hit he doesn't hit as hard, and so you can revive. He does a lot of dispels. I forget his exact script, but it's pretty it's easier after that initial volley.
So Fiktah is going through his opera check. Unfortunately, that's going to be a dead check at the end, so going to be not much progression there. And also getting unlucky with the Daman veterans there, not once but twice.
That's right, but he doesn't. Unlike when Jones ran through it, he's not looking for the experience as much, and so this should hopefully go a tiny bit faster.
Yeah, that's a reset, unfortunately, for Jones. But he did save right there, I think, right before he did that check, so he could just progress through and just say skip the dragon for now. Yep.
It's the advantage of the dragon not being required. And of course, you know, one thing about White Dragon is that he can be muted, and I'm sure Jones was looking through his magic menu to see if he can mute him.
Hey!
Yeah.
There she is!
That is Realm, or as we affectionately call her, the Murder Child, because magic power is probably the most important set in this game, and in the base game she has the highest, and that means even with some random distortion on, that she typically ends up as one of the highest magic users in the game. Given the Ice 3 and Fire 3s that they found, I would not be surprised if Jones ends up taking her.
Yeah, definitely. Probably over Edgar or...
Oh,
nope, didn't take. Nope, was going to leave her out. That was, in case you didn't see it, that is a French vanilla realm with control.
French vanilla. That's it's a good term for it.
Well, I mean, she has a sketch ability. You get it. There's a specific relic that changes from sketch to control. So that's why I said kind of French vanilla, because then there's various of the skills that the characters have, plus like the constant sprint shoes that you had, which makes that item and relic completely worthless when you do find it in the chest. That we kind of it just makes it kind of more French vanilla, if anything. So
that's right. And control is probably the most useless skill in the game. I would imagine even Seal and Capture I think have a slightly more use than control does.
Not very early game is not too bad, because when you're at low levels, you're facing a lot of enemies, some of which are kind of on the tougher side. You can take control of one of them, forcing them not to be able to fight at all, so you can shrink the number of enemies you have on the field to pick them off like individually afterwards. That's something that I do when I have control. But
it's true. Luckily, I think our runners have enough offense to not have to worry about it at the moment. Jones is heading to Jador, World of Ruin for Realm's Oswald Mansion check. And then gotta wonder if he's going to check the auction house after that.
Yeah, I would definitely try that, but seeing Inox or Inox on the screen, probably not. He's gonna be noping out of that one, so they can muddle your entire party, and next thing you know, your party's fighting itself and not the enemy. So definitely say no to that. Fiktah trying to figure out what they're going to do as Jones progresses through the darkened house here.
Oh, and Fiktah's electing to go
to try for leader here. No, I say that's Magitech facility.
Magitech Factory.
So interesting.
Yeah. You know, with 4 characters, you know, he's hoping that no characters are blocked behind the third check here, which we know that they are not. So he should be good on that front. You know, the first 2 checks here are very quick, honestly. They're 2 quick boss fights and a few treasure, and you can just warp right out. You know, it's the third check that takes a long time, but I don't think we'll see him go for that one.
No, 3 checks, you think?
I don't really see. I think it's way too slow. I think you'll see 2 here, which is definitely a good call.
I'm a 3-bagger, I will say, because especially if you get a couple espers early, that raises the seat a little bit, so getting those couple of levels in the drink cart, I do it. But then again, I'm a slow runner, so what do I know?
You never know. Sometimes that esper could be the one that that has the spell you're looking for, or could be a golem or a fenrir, you know, some sort of calmness protection. You never know. And
exactly.
Jones runs into Atma, one of the endgame bosses. We'll see how much trouble this this kind of gives him. He does have throw, which will do some decent amount of damage.
Yep, but that's a Edgar morphing into Ultra Terra there.
And this is the time to do it.
That's one thing we're gonna have to get a person to reskin a lot of things, but maybe having Morph do like an Ultra form of each character, but that's a big ask.
I don't know, it's kind of like the Moggle suit, right? There's some charm in seeing Edgar looking
true.
like Terra.
Yeah, you changed Mog's skin. Yeah, if you have the Mogul suit, you change Mog's skin. That character, when you put on the Mog suit, will be that character. So that was mentioned the other day. And this is Ultros 4.
Yes,
for
4.
Fiktah.
Yeah,
Yep.
4 only a little bit tricky here because he doesn't have any bolts or fire, so he needs to do some damage to get Chupon to show up. But once he does, that Ice 3 should end the battle very quickly.
Yeah, Ice 3 already learned early. That was a crit, so there goes Chupon
There we go.
on the screen.
Yeah.
After Chupon goes on the screen, you just ignore the octopus entirely and just focus on his little friend in the back. Which, yeah, that's an instant sneeze.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this fight gives no experience or gold or magic. It's the only downside. So that means progress did go up with no scaling for the party. But he did get Fenrir, a pretty key Esper.
With a Bolt 3 times 1, so this is a very slow progressive magic stream. And we have the best girl, as many people like to say, Terra for Jones, behind Atma.
Yeah, so 2 big pickups for both runners. Terra has also some very high magic, but also contains some decent checks, some slow ones, but a few quick ones. Meanwhile, Fiktah ends up with the Fenrir Esper. Fenrir is one of the Espers that can protect against the second and last boss's instant death attack that he always does when he's killed. And so when these runners they're playing, they're keeping an eye out for strategies to deal with that because they know right before the final boss there's a chance they could lose 1 or 2 party members. We'll explain more when we get there, but Fenrir will help them counter that.
And also on the screen we have a Inferno that is also one of the end bosses for the entire game, so this one might be a little tough. But if you have some ice and some bolts and you center that metal mass on the screen, you should be okay. That's going to be a dead center though.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a damage race here. He's doing a lot of damage to Inferno, but Inferno's doing a lot of damage back to him. And so we're probably going to see who can knock off who first. But there's a pretty big fight for Fiktah because I don't believe he's saved beforehand. So if he loses, he has to redo that Ultras battle again.
Yeah. One cool thing about Terra, like mentioned, she has the treasure room, which is another huge check. We got thunder shields, we got hero rings, an elixir, which is kind of helpful. Extra warp stone for use to 4, and a blizzard orb. That's not too bad.
Nothing amazing, but the thunder shield is a solid shield. Gives you protection and can be used pretty much in the entire game. You're never sad to see it. It might not be an Atma weapon, but it's something you can. It's something solid to give protection to your party. Fiktah was able to power through Inferno, which could have been very scary. He pulled it out, and that was a big win for him, getting the Ramu Isper.
Haste 2, Life 2, X. Okay, wow, that's a lot of good stuff on that one. Even.
Life 2 in particular is great to see. It's almost a full heal with an extra step.
But he noped out. He's not going to go for the third section.
Yeah, the third section is slow. It's 2 bosses and an auto-scroller with a bunch of fixed encounters, all for just one Esper. There's plenty of quicker Espers out there that I'm sure Fiktah is thinking about. And that probably was a big decision maker with him warping out of there.
Yep. I do have the cheat sheet in front of me, so I won't spoil it in case Jones decides to go there, but we'll see.
Yep.
So again, this the rest of this check from Terra is a bit of a long one. Ooh, red jacket. That's helpful. It's a bit of a long one because you kind of have to progress through this long cave, but there's, again, lots and lots and lots of chests through here. So early to mid game, it's nice because you can grab a bunch of more chests, but late game, those chests probably not looking for anything anymore.
It's true, but late game, if you ignore the chest, it is a very quick check, about a minute or so. So still a solid check, no matter when you take it.
So this is not a character here. That's because it's an imp on the screen. Instead, it is
another match site.
Esper. Nice.
So both our runners are on good pace at the moment. Jones being 2 characters ahead, but has one additional character that you didn't need, which will impact final scaling. It'll be curious to see if that will make any of the final boss fights difficult or not.
Fiktah getting through his Search the Skies check that Jones did earlier, which of course revealed the Esper. Jones is going to be doing the leader check, which is the Saiyan check.
And Jones putting a economizer on Celis. I believe we found an economizer in the Return of the Hideout earlier, and makes all magic cost 1 MP. But you actually don't see it too often in speedruns. MP is not always the biggest concern.
And there's a Merton on one of the Espers too. That also has a +1. It is +1 magic power.
Yeah, and combine that with the Red Jacket and the Thunder Shield that he found in the Terra check. It means he is 2/4 of the way to Merchant Protection. Merchant, a fire and wind spell that hits both you and your opponents. Does a lot of damage, but since it's you, it can kill you. But if you can equip equipment to negate or absorb one of those two elements, you can turn it into just a very powerful offensive weapon for you.
So we have Fiktah going further into the skies again. Now we're doing the floating island check, which is one of the shadows checks. There's the economizer for Jones going through there. And also, just a quick note, because we didn't mention it, Terra, who Jones added to the group, has lore for their ability.
Yes, lore, a very underused ability in vanilla that gains a little bit more use in Worlds Collide, because you can learn any lore even if you don't have a lore member in your party, as long as the enemy does that ability in the fight. And so it would be curious to see if any of those play a factor in this run or not.
And it looks like Jones is going to be doing the Thief in the Woods check here. That's that little thief that's in the back of Miranda. Which is also where the Falling House might be for if you have Sabin in the group. But it looks like they're going to be checking that, see how much it is. 43,000. Yeah, not having that much money right now.
Yeah, so that check, the price differs between World of Bounds and World of Ruin. It is available in both. So for 43, he's wondering if it's worth going to World of Ruin and trying his luck there. It can be anywhere between, I think, 3 GP is in theory how low it could be, and 65,000 something GP at the upper end.
I don't know if you saw that, but Jones was looking at the Aura Lance in the item shop, which is a great lance for jumpers, but everybody in the party can use it except for the jumper in the party, so yeah. That's what I was laughing at. So.
I noticed that when I did my run as well. It was very disappointing. That is one of the problems with getting a natural jump on a character who's not Edgar or Mog. It is not guaranteed they can equip any of the spears, since in vanilla, those are the only 2 characters that can equip spears. With this flag set, each character has a 25% chance of being able to equip an item he wouldn't normally be able to equip, and you might get unlucky and your natural jump shadow can't actually use any spears or fixed dice.
Okay, so we just have Jones finding fire shields in the shop, and he is wholesaling everything in his item pool to pick up these fire shields, so I'm betting he's going for the Merton strats now.
Yes, and fire shields in particular...
He actually sold one economy. He had 2 economizers, so he actually sold one of them.
Which I don't blame him for. Economizers don't really give you as much bang for your buck as you would imagine, especially because you're taking away a slot from an earring that could increase your damage by 25%.
And healing, for that matter.
Yeah, and so, they sell for a lot of money, and flame shields in particular are great because there's a lot of equipment that can nullify fire or wind, but not a lot that can absorb fire, and flame shield is one of the few that can. So now, not only is he going to be just nuking the enemies with powerful merchants, he's going to heal himself on every cast for anyone who has a flame shield equipped.
So we are definitely Merton strats 100% in the way now. Terra I was going to say, Terra had absolutely no equipment on her, but she should have enough flame shields for everybody. I don't think... Okay, she has the red jacket too, so that works.
Yep, and the Thunder Shield will also nullify the wind, and so he should have full protection.
deal.
Meanwhile, Fiktah is running into Rexol. Not a hard fight, but Rexol does have a very high magical defense. So even though he is weak to ice, I believe, magic does not do as much damage. He can take a little bit longer, but Fiktah managed to handle that without any real problems.
Yeah, definitely. And Jones is going through his Magitech facility check. Let's see if he gets for the third one as well. Or it is actually not as well, because Fiktah didn't do it, so let's see if he goes for that third one. Because right now what we're seeing here is okay, no. I thought I saw Magi Master on the screen. Nope, that's Junior, everybody. That is Junior.
Nope, that is his little brother. Yeah, Magi Master and number 24 share the same sprite. One, Magi Master is the worst enemy in the game, and the other, number 24, is a pretty forgettable boss fight. So, very different from each other.
Yes, definitely. So we're gonna go see what the first check of the island is. It is an Esper. So that'll be the 7th Esper for Fiktah on 4 characters, though. Jones having the opposite find. He's got 7 characters with 4 Espers.
Right, and for people who maybe watched our ban and draft race earlier today, this is a completely different flag set, and we do not have statue skip on, which is an option to skip part of the final dungeon if you have more characters or more Espers than the base requirement. That is not on
Dragons.
Or dragons, and that is not on for the ladder, so gaining more Espers or more characters does not help your progression at all. It just scales up enemies, and that's pretty much it. Maybe gives you a few more options, but overall you don't want to gain more characters than the 6 you need.
So as you can see on the Merton there on Jones's screen, it healed everybody except for Terra. I would switch the Flame Shield from Shadow to Terra just to heal her, since Shadow's going to be the air most of the time. Because she did not get any heals off that.
Yeah.
So I would actually probably switch that up a little bit.
Yeah, and that might be something he does, but like you point out, Shadow not being able to equip the Aura Lance, he might not be in the air for too much longer. Not be able to equip Spears, that jump is going to lose his effectiveness, and he might switch him over to be a pure mage. So we'll kind of see what he does here, but for right now, it doesn't really matter if you're healing, if you're just nuking everything in one hit.
By the way, there is an item back there in that room. There's a hidden item in the corner. So.
Yes.
Just for those out there, little tip.
I don't think it was anything game-breaking in this case. Jones is now fighting that Inferno. Inferno is immune to fire, though, so Merchant will not work here. He will have to default to that Ice 3 that he learned, and
Pearl Rods.
Or Pearl Rods, yes. Or Ninja Stars. He has a lot of options that aren't Merchant. It is the one downside of the Merchant strategy. It's not, say, like Ultima that's non-elemental. There are some enemies that it just cannot handle, and Inferno is one of them.
And that is a Ultros number 2 on Fiktah screen in place of the Atma weapon.
Yep.
That's gone, because Fire 3.
Yes, it can be a scary fight at level 3, but other than that, typically it's over in a matter of seconds.
And another Esper for Fiktah. That's 8.
That's right. If he finds an Esper at the end of here, put him at 9, he's in a pretty good state. He just needs to get characters, maybe try to pick a check or two that involves some sort of peeking. But he's in a pretty good state from a Magicite perspective.
Now, with Shadow leading the party, does the airship wait for him?
How mean would be?
That's a vanilla joke, everybody.
How mean would it be if for this check they wanted the character at the end? They had to wait around 2 minutes until the countdown ended.
Yeah. And this is one of the ones you have to have sprint shoes for. Jones getting their second Esper. Are they going to skip out? They are going to skip out on the third check, which I will reveal to you guys was another Esper. Not just any Esper, it was Gollum.
Ooh. Yeah.
So that's a big skip for end-game stuff, guys.
Yeah, I personally don't think it's worth the time, but if there was any one Esper without knowing the spells that is worth more than the others, it is definitely Golem, it being a guaranteed protection against Calmness, the second last boss's instant death attack. But Fiktah has Fenrir, and I think Jones has Fenrir also, so I don't think it should be a problem for either of the two.
Nope. Just checking chat, sorry, real quick, see if there's any questions. Don't really see any right now. But it looks like we're going to have Jones going into Domer Casco's going to be going to the Dream. Now, this is another one, like Magic Facility, which it is a series of checks, which can get you a lot of good things, but could get you nothing at the same time, so...
Sorry about that, just checking some levels.
Try touch on the screen. Sometimes a bad thing, but everybody has Fire 3, so that's going to be a breeze for, yeah, especially the 9,000 damage a shot there. Yeah, that's not going to be a problem.
Meanwhile, Jones is going to Cyan's Dream. Cyan's Dream is typically a very fast check. Once you enter, you have to finish it out, but it has only 2 bosses for 3 checks, one of which is guaranteed to be a character or an Esper. So you know you're going to get some little progress from it. Ideally, you would find an Esper and 2 characters, or 3 Espers. I believe some people in chat who have run this, though, is indicating that this might not be the most fruitful check for Jones.
Yeah, so let's not spoil it for the people who haven't seen it yet, guys. Let's not spoil it, okay? We'll spoil it after the fact if they skip out on the end check for Magic Facility, okay? No spoilers, guys. Let's enjoy it. Let's enjoy other people's misery, okay?
That's why we watch this, right? And
yes,
speaking of misery, Jones is getting the Piranha, whatever you say is the actual boss's name, fight, which is a random timer between 5 seconds and 60 seconds of how long this fight is going to be.
I don't know. I don't know about that, though, because I've noticed that if I kill all the Piranhas and 1 skill ability, it will pop up.
I think that would be confirmation bias. It is literally a random timer at the beginning between 5 seconds and 60 seconds.
All right.
It used to be 10 seconds and 120 seconds before the latest patch. We did reduce it.
God damn it.
But it is a huge time sink, especially if you get unlucky. In this case, it looked like the timer was a lot closer to 60 seconds than 5.
Now that is a dead fish on the screen because, Merton strats, Jones is ahead of the game on that. Fiktah hasn't found that yet, but hasn't really found any characters either, so...
That's right, Fiktah is in a weird position now. He just needs characters. I mean, some things that are guaranteed to be Espers, such as Tritalk or Auction House, that typically be later checks people might use, are off limits to him now. And he's going to have to get a little creative and hope that he can maybe pull a few out. And Jones wisely resets out of the Dream. Halfway through, you can see what character you'll end up with. And it is Umaro. He doesn't need any more characters, and he knows the first check was on Esper, so he was not going to gamble on the third and final check being an Esper. He was bailing out. A good thing, too, because it was 2 dead checks and a character he did not need, so that would have been an even bigger time sink than currently was, having to do just the one boss.
Now, here's a good question, though. We have Jones with only 6 Espers and has all the characters, but Fiktah only has all their Espers, but only 4 characters. Who do you think's in a better position right now at 45 minutes into the sea here?
It's definitely Fiktah, because Fiktah's going to pull out his 5th character here, Cyan. We know Cyan's here, and then at that point, if he decides to go Mount Zozo, which he is right next door to Mount Zozo airship-wise, and it does have a dragon, so it is a pretty good next hop when you get Cyan, that'll give him his last character. Right. It really depends on what he does after this check, but odds are he'll probably end up there. So he's in a good position at the moment. But we'll see. You never know what people decide, and you never know how the rando's going to rando.
Yeah, because some people do like to take extra dragon fights before going into the Kefka Tower just to get those levels and get those couple of spells they might not have gotten. But we have Vargas. We have the opposite, exactly the opposite of what we had earlier in this race. It's like we reversed the pictures on everybody.
Good memory. I did not even notice that they were fighting these 2 bosses at the same time before.
So again, Narapa on the left this time, Vargas and the Pooh Bears on the right. Mern's going to get rid of the Pooh Bears. Unfortunately, no honey for them. Trying to use the insta-deaths on Narapa again, but I don't think, other than the X-Zone, and I think there's Doom Darts on Celeste.
Nope.
Never mind. Edgar did the exact same thing again.
And very, very smart by Fiktah. Like we said before, Narapa has Reflect built in, and all of his offense right now has been single target magic, and Narapa, while not difficult, does make that a little more difficult. So the instant death was a great choice, and Fiktah spending a minute to think if he wants that Cyan with Throw.
Throw's a very strong ability. There are some ninja stars I've seen and like that, so you definitely could use them. I mean...
Oh, and he's not doing Mount Zozo. He's going to do Doma Council first, which makes sense. It's a very quick check. You see at the very beginning, if it's a character, you'll see it immediately, so you can reset out as soon as you see it's not a character. So definitely gonna be a smart move here.
Is that Orlance again?
Yeah.
Another store, same issue.
But if you find some boots, Edgar can equip it. I know for me, I did not find a horn, and so it was never able to come together. But Edgar, there are boots in some of these shops, and Edgar can equip that Orlance.
Looks like we got some little last-minute setups here for Fiktah. See if it's going to be a character here. See if they know about.
It's not, and
yep. Immediately.
Which is a smart move. I believe. Trying to see if he saved in World of Bounce or World of Ruin there. He did save in World of Bounce. Okay, some runners like to save in World of Ruin before doing that, so when they reset, they're back at a World of Ruin check. Slight time save. But we'll see where he goes.
Unfortunately, Jones is doing the Edgar check, basement check, which we know is an item, not an Esper, so he's going to run into another dead check.
And Fiktah is going to find his last character here, which is going to put him in go mode to head on to the final dungeon. So that's a big time save for Fiktah. And sometimes that's just what this randomizer comes down to, is picking the right paths. Both our runners have been playing very optimally, but sometimes it's a matter of just trying to get through as many checks as possible. The more checks you get through, the more likely you are to get your requirements, and sometimes it just means that your opponent just did different checks than you did.
So this would put Fiktah on the path of probably getting to Kefka's Tower here under 55, which is a very fast time.
It is very fast. I won't mention spoilers for the other times, though anyone who's watching this who hasn't run shouldn't be watching this, so it's not that big of a deal. But that should put him on a very good pace to get a pretty good time, I would imagine. He is going to take the White Dragon fight here, and should really be in a better situation than Jones was when he ran into him.
Yeah, and probably maybe cap off maybe a couple spells that are ×1 right now.
Yes, a lot of those.
We're getting better castings out of this too, actually. Not getting the triple pearl, the opener.
Yeah,
double pearl Scarbeam, but
it's technically I think a vanilla triple pearl, but because of elemental scaling, one of those got scaled down to a Scarbeam. I know that Doesn't is in chat and probably could clarify what his battle script is, because I know he knows all the Dragon's battle scripts, but it is not guaranteed he does that triple opening, but it is the worst case that he can do.
And once again, we have, this time, White Dragon gets taken down, and we also have Doulahan going down for Jones on the Merton strats, but, like we just mentioned, that's going to be an item, not an Esper, so it'll be still stuck at 3 more Espers to go before go mode, but Fiktah, we already know there's a realm waiting for them at the end of this cave.
Fiktah didn't actually finish Figure Basement, did he? Because he bailed out when he got hit by the level !Pearl, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah.
So they would have known that it was an item there. So sorry, spoiler.
I was gonna say, I don't think we saw that. I knew that because I ran into that myself. But Fiktah actually, honestly, blessing in disguise. That could have sent him down a triple check that only resulted in 1 Esper. But
sorry about that. I forgot that he bailed out on that one.
Yeah. And thank you, Doesn't, in chat for breaking down the battle script of White Dragon for us. Can explain a lot better than I could. So thank you for that.
Or if you don't have the availability of Dozen, you can head over to our FF6WC.com. There's a wiki on there that can tell you the same thing.
That's right. We have plenty of guides for pretty much everything you would need. Everything from boss weakness breakdown to what rages are the best, what items do what. Really make it easy for all of our for people with casual and speedrunners to reference for races. Fiktah now has all of his characters. He is stopping in Jador for get some last minute shopping potentially.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think this is the right town. I think he's looking for a specific item. Maybe he's looking for the flame shields, because he does not have the flame shield strat that Jones found. So
no, and it could be that he's just looking for something. You know, they have very powerful magic right now.
Dragon fight.
But I know when I did this, I had no weapons at all, and what you'll find out with having very powerful magic come the final battle is that MP suddenly kind of matters. And so he could be looking for just a Hail Mary 2 seconds to check for Atma weapons, Illuminas, something that could break out of, you know, the level 3 magic casting. Because while powerful, it's not the best strategy.
Yeah, then we have a red dragon check, which is not going to be very helpful with the Merton here.
No.
But again, his attacks aren't going to do much either, so the ice 3s are going to come through here in a minute. I believe that's Celeste that's going to be piling that on.
And Fiktah is going to Waterruin Opera House, where here he can fight a dragon. And this is not required at all, since dragons aren't required and there's no other progression here, but it takes slightly about a minute or so if you're going fast from entering to killing the dragon. And given what we mentioned earlier about experience and magic points and a chance to have a good weapon, a lot of runners like to stop here before Kefka's Tower to really just gain a little bit more resources and hopefully, you know, some amazing equipment.
And speaking of Hail Mary, with Jones going up into Narsh to get the dragon here, is going to try and get the Espers done. Not trying the Opera House, which is what I would try to do right now. Trying to get like maybe one or two Espers at the end here. And that's a dirt dragon again on the screen. Oh, Poombaba. Okay, that's interesting. He's immune to lightning, I believe. I believe he heals off of it, so Merge should be okay. Atlas was in 10 shops this seed. Oh, that's interesting.
Yes, because Atlas armlet on Cyan with throw and throwing ninja stars is, while not game breaking, very solid damage, probably 3 or 4k per attack. But Penumbra here, not a hard fight, but Penumbra has some of the highest HP in the game, so it can definitely take a while. Definitely a slower
it's
fight.
Gonna be a grind, yeah. Fiktah getting through that dragon, getting those levels, those magic spells learned. We saw Bolt 3 pop through, saw Merton pop through, but again, doesn't have the Fire Flame Shield, but did get the Thunder Shield off that.
Yeah, I think he's still short when it comes to protection, however. So we'll see what ends up happening. I guess he's doing a little bit more shopping, you know, a little more preparation than one normally sees before Kefka's Tower, but perhaps he's looking for more earrings or something.
Yep, there's the earrings, and he just bought a bunch and one offering, apparently.
Yeah, interesting.
But it doesn't have an item for offering. Well, two offerings,
two offerings, okay.
Well, we do have Genji Glove. He does have Genji Glove available. We could do double item, 8 attack, swipe here. And on Jones is no, it's not an Esper.
No, and without Yumara, there's no additional check here, so he needs to try again some other place. But this is interesting. Jones has the offense.
Oh, thank God, he has warp. Okay, so it wasn't totally a blown there.
Right, but he is still 2 Espers behind Fiktah. He has the offense, but Fiktah has the lead right now. The magic that Fiktah has one concern, especially come the final boss, is going to be MP conservation. The 4-tier Kefka is very long, and if every character is only casting spells and has no other offense, you only have so many MP healing items. And I know that was a problem I ran into when I ran this race. And the Merchant will be a little more cost effective, so it's very possible for Jones to make up the difference in offense once he gets into the tower.
Yeah, definitely has the offense and defense for the heals in your own party with the flame shields and everything, because you could just cast Fire 3 on yourself and heal your whole team. With the exception of Terra, which we have seen in the past that other people do as an option for healing, because once again, we have a ladder race, no heals available, so...
It's not that no heals are available. Healing is around, but it is... it's a lot not as readily available. The only healing spells there are is Cure 1, 2, and 3, whereas there's a lot more offensive spells. So statistically, you're more likely to get offensive spells than healing, which means a lot of times you got to be dependent on X potions and elixirs you picked up and get creative with your healing. So having that Fire 3 Flame Shield set up is a nice little feather in your cap if you need to pull out some last-minute emergency healing.
Looks like Jones is climbing Nars. She just got a stockpile of ninja stars for the throw. It looks like there's going to do Kefka.
Nope.
Oh no, it's right. He has Terra. I forgot, but that's a go-go once again, not an Esper.
He's just not getting lucky. This is a bunch of bad breaks for Jones. Meanwhile, Fiktah is starting the climb up Kefka's tower. The first few minutes is just a lot of navigating various rooms in the dungeon. Nothing, crazy to speak of. It'll be interesting to see whether he does... There are 2 dragons here in the dungeon, but he'll be taking on either dragon with not full party strength, so it'll be interesting to see if that factors into his plans at all.
So we're coming up on a 1 hour into this run. If you're watching this is the Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide ladder race. We're in the early stages of the finals. These are the top 10 runners that we had in our ladder season, trying to make it through the seed. This is a completely blind seed where you start with 3 characters. You got to end the seed with 6 characters and 10 espers in order to get to the final boss of Kefka. I am Saberwolf. Of course, I am joined by Seto Kaiba, who's pulling double duty, doing the comms and the restream. We have Brianna in the background also doing our tracking for us, so big props to her for doing that.
So, Jones here, doing Esper Mountain. One of the checks that you can, we call peek, which is you can see ahead of time roughly what it is. He knows it's not a character. If it was a character, that character sprite would be there. Instead, it's an Imperial Soldier, so he knows it's either an Esper or a item.
But it's Atma again.
Well, Atma weapon is the weaker of the two.
It's Atma. It's baby Atma.
Right, you fight him halfway through the game in vanilla. But still can be nasty. He still knows some nasty spells, has a decent amount of HP, so definitely nothing to sneeze at. But we'll see here. If this is an Esper, that'll put him very, much better position. At this point, he's probably trying to do different checks when possible that lets him peek in order to save as much time as possible.
Okay, I don't know about you, but I would put Cyan on my team. Ninja Stars, no levels, doing 3,000 damage on a Ninja Star. I mean, I would throw him on the team with that Flame Shield, which she just equipped on him now, so...
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said before, it's not game-breaking per se. It's not going to destroy Kefka, but it's solid. 3,000 damage consistently, regardless of who you're fighting, because it ignores defense. It's hard to say no to that. He is a solid 4th party member. And Jones picks up his 9th Esper Unicorn, leaving him just 1 away from getting into the tower.
So let's see where he tries to get it at. If he goes to Jidor, maybe buy it off the auction house. He is going to Ruin. Okay, he's going to Thief in the Woods. He's going to try to buy it from Thief in the Woods instead. Which I believe this was like over $40,000 for World of Ruin version.
Oof.
Or, well, $59,000. Okay, that was World of Balance was the $40,000. So there you go.
He is quite that asking thief this game.
Yeah. We have the okay. So on the Guardian check for Fiktah, this is the first of the final 4 bosses where you get the Kefka. This is the Infrared in Shiva badge, but with Ice 3 should not be a problem.
No, this is one of these fights, kind of like Tridoc, that can be a huge wall if you don't have the right setup. But if you do have the right setup, you just can just power right through and easily finish the boss off quickly.
Which is why having Celeste in the party is a huge get for when you play the vanilla in this game. Jones is going to do the Terra check. Blocked the Blubby, unfortunately, so we couldn't see the doggy on the screen. If you step right to the left of the door as soon as you get through there, you can block the doggy coming through the door. I never do that because I don't step on dogs. So, boo on you, Derek Jones.
This check that Jones is doing is really risky. You know, he got to spy it and saw that an Esper, which is great. However, Penumbra here, once he does a little bit of damage, will do an attack that will blow 2 whole party members away, leaving just 1 to finish the fight, and you don't get to pick which one, which can make it very, very scary.
Well, he does pick dead bodies first, and that is a Magi Master for Fiktah.
Yeah, Magi Master is, we were mentioning him earlier, he is the scariest enemy in the game. He has insanely high physical attack. He changes his elemental he's weak to each and every time you hit him, and he has extremely powerful magic. You don't like to see him. You don't like to see him in Captain Tower when you don't have your full party with you, because he can be very nasty if that's the case.
I really want to know what the magic power is on Celeste right now. I'm dropping quad 9s on every single spell here.
Yeah, and luckily he has Flare. You know, Flare being non-elemental, you know, Fiktah did the right move, which is hit him with your powerful Fire 3 early on before you can change his weakness, and then just flare him to get by that. He also has a lot of HP. He has some of the highest HP in the game, so it can be a long fight, it can be a dangerous fight.
We do have a question in chat from Just Huxley. Does he still have the ultimate death counter in this rando? No, we do have a check mark that you can mark when you make your seeds and like that to say no Ultima on Magi Master. That's so right. we do have that checked off where you cannot cast that as a counter.
Right, because that is a rather unfair move. I think most people will agree, and it means you have to have a Palador or Jump or Life 3 to get around it, and that's too hard of a requirement for Worlds Collide, so we typically remove it. But Fiktah got through it perfectly fine. It'd be curious to see how Jones deals with it. I know that there was an Esper that had Berserk on it that you got early on, because Magi Master is not immune to Berserk. If you can Berserk him, he cannot attack and he can't change his element, which trivializes the fight. It's Berserk is pretty much useless except for that one fight, in which it is a godsend.
Well, not completely useless. You can Berserk yourself in the Magi Tower Magi, so you can use like fixed dice and other things like that and try to get through fights. Jones had a very difficult fight, by the way, with Guardian, with only 2 characters there, so props to them trying to get through that.
It's just a sneak peek of Kefka's Tower, right? Like fighting an endgame boss with not a full party. Guardian is also particularly tough. His attacks aren't bad, but he does have a lot of HP, and with only 2 party members, healing and dishing out damage can be a little difficult. So kudos to Jones for pulling on through there.
So Jones is now in go mode, trying to finish up on buying some items before they head on in. Grab some tents to heal up at the end game, and that is a ghost train for the second statue boss here. Evil Toot. That's an interesting one. You don't see very much of.
Yeah, with elemental scaling, Evil Toot is.
Oh!
Yeah. And
Zone. See you later.
Yeah, he is immune. He's not immune to instant death. You don't run into them vanilla because you don't have access to that sort of stuff there. But he can be X-zoned, and at this level, Phantom Train obviously is very trivial, as you just saw. Evil Toot, though, is something with elemental scaling that he can do, and that is scary. It does a bunch of random stats effects. Sometimes you can be imped or muddled, and I have wiped to him as a statue boss before because he just muddles the wrong person, and that person decimates your party. So potentially scary, but Fiktah handled him, with ease.
Cabasiago, does Jones have any healing? He has a roundabout healing because all of his characters have flame shields or red jackets. He does have a roundabout healing by just casting fire themselves or just Mertoning, which will heal yourself as top of doing damage to your target. And Jones is entering Kafka's Tower at 107.
Yep, and I believe this is Fiktah's last boss before Kefka. But, this is not over. Jones has the offense, and like I mentioned earlier, one challenge Fiktah might run into is MP and everything with Kefka. The 4 tiers Kefka is really long, and depending on what his item usage is, it could potentially go slow, or God forbid, even a wipe. So this is still anyone's game at the moment.
Yeah, this is Fiktah's having a little tough fight here. He is doing a lot of damage with Anchor, with spellcasting, not in one of normal spellcasters in your group. Oh, that's a kapow there, so he's through, and that's the last statue before you get the KT.
Yep, and say bye-bye to the boy band, Hide in the Hidden Knights.
Yep, Hide in the Hidden Knights.
Yeah, he's wasn't the worst boss, but not one you want to see at that spot with not a full party, because he does know Confusion and Zombie and has a lot of HP, so he can potentially, ruin your day if the dice fall incorrectly.
Yep, make sure we equip the Fenrir there. There you go.
Right, so we mentioned before that Kefka is split into 4 tiers, 4 different fights, and the third fight, one of the enemies, Sleep, when you kill him, he does an attack called Calmness, and he has a third of a chance afterwards to do another Calmness attack. And Calmness is instant death, and it cannot be blocked by self-like memento rings and safety bits. So our runners are keeping in the back of their minds as they're running ways to counter that. And Fenrir is one way of countering it. Calmness is a physical attack, and Fenrir gives everyone the image status, and Sleep has no other way of doing physical attacks, so as long as they have the image status, they will be able to hopefully block Calmness. So this way, you're not guaranteed to lose a character, or God forbid 2 characters going into the last part of the fight.
By the way, that was a 10-minute Kafka Tower for Fiktah.
Yeah, he put on a clinic there. That is an extremely quick Kefka Tower, because you have to remember it's 4 bosses and moving through all those pathways, and he had no problems. Even Magi Master, he had the right setup for it. So this is Tier 1. Tier 1 is 3 parts: face, long arm, and short arm. Long arm at the bottom left there can be hit with instant death, and the other trick is you don't want to kill face last, or else he will counter with Quake as he dies, which is a good way to kill people off. So you'll see our runners attack face first, who is weak to fire magic, and then after that move on to short arm.
Yep, and Fiktah's following that pathway right there, because X Zone is an insta-death spell, so it took out the long arm in the first try. Fire 3s there raining down, that should be enough for the Fire 3s. Ooh, Dragon Claw was in the chest there in Kefka's Tower, that's not bad.
And Fiktah wisely...
Shadow.
Yeah, Fiktah is wisely using Phantom here, so Tier 1 does a lot of very powerful physical attacks, actually very nasty. Unless you're wearing Genji armor, it can sometimes do 4 digits worth of damage and can very easily knock out people. But they're physical, and you don't see a lot of physical attacks in Worlds Collide most of the time. And so Phantoms get a lot of use, but this is a perfect time to use Phantom. Very top tier play by Fiktah.
So as we're watching here, Jones is making their way through the Kefka Tower. And this last spell from Setsu should do it for the first tier. Nope, need one more.
Short arm has a little bit of HP, and there we go.
Yeah, and these magic powers, these magic decks weren't doing all that great, so yeah. So now we're moving on to Tier 2. Now Tier 2 Kefka is a 4-headed beast. The tiger you see there just sneaking into your pictures there at the bottom, that is one part, the blue guy in the front. bridge between the girl on the vine and the eye there, that's Machine. In the middle, they're susceptible to instant deaths as well. And on the back side, one facing away from everybody, is Magic. And Magic, of course, not having much fun right there, just turning immediately, sets her into an imp. But essentially what you want to do here is you want to mute the one in the back there so he doesn't cast any spells at all, making him completely useless. You can instant death Machine, like I mentioned. The Tiger on the bottom is weak to ice, and you just pretty much leave the blue guy last, because that's the only basic one they have left.
Yeah, the order that you kill him in can really depend. Leaving hit the last can be rough because he will death counter with 10 physical attacks, and I've definitely had someone get killed with that, and then with the final battle here, if you have a character who's dead when you move on, they don't come back, they get replaced by someone.
Double miss. Ooh.
A lot of times, if you mute Magic, leaving Magic last makes sense, because muting Magic just nullifies Magic 100% from the fight. But I don't believe our runners have mute, and that's going to make this fight a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, mute is not available. I also didn't see Siren either picked up, which also can use the mute effect. That's the Esper. There's going to be a Dead Shadow on that attack, so this is going to be a rough one for Fiktah. Also missing those two X zones too does not help. But Life 2 is going to help pick them back up again. So.
Yeah, Tier 2 is a very technical fight. There is a lot going on with it, and a lot to balance, a lot to keep in mind. And this will be a true test of our...
Oh, no. Yeah, that was Magi Master being seen there on the screen for a second and almost just annihilated Celeste in one hit. So that was rough. There goes X-Zone on that one.
Yeah. But everyone being hit by poison.
Everybody's poisoned, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you don't have mute for Magic. Between Magic and Tiger, they know some nasty stuff. They can petrify, they can imp, they can poison, they can confuse. There are... You can sometimes have an amazing party and still wipe to Tier 2 here, because it is a nasty grouping.
Okay, so Celeste now getting the Berserk off was too low a health, because Magi Master will still hit you with those swords he has in his hands. Felt like Jones probably felt like it was too low a health to with those attacks, I guess, and decided to just do a quick reset since it was just right there. So.
And like we mentioned before,
like you mentioned before about the whole tactical thing, I always leave Magic last because it's muted. He doesn't do anything at the end, so you kill everybody else off, leave Magic up. He was muted, can't do anything. You retake stock, re-heal your entire party, and then slowly take out Magic, and then you can move on. So.
Right, but that only works if Magic is muted.
Yeah, exactly.
I still like to leave Magic the last regardless, but it does become a little bit different because Magic is throwing out some nasty spells right now at Fiktah. And Fiktah's running into the problem that I mentioned earlier, which is he's running out of MP, and he does not have a lot of MP healing items left, and all of his offense is in spells. So Fiktah is probably trying to be very creative right now with how he handles these fights, because he only has a limited number of castings of Magic left.
Whew. Okay, single digits again on Shadow there. And I also want to stand corrected that that apparently Celeste casted Berserk on themselves, not Magi Master. That's why he reset.
That makes complete sense.
That one makes more sense. So yeah. So thank you, chat, for that.
Ooh, I'm getting a little nerve-wracked watching Fiktah over here. He hopefully he has enough resources to get Piers 3 and 4.
Well, that's what we were saying. That's what Chad was saying. They were really worried about the resources that Fiktah had. He doesn't have the Merton strats, the healing that Merton comes off, the damage. He's not. I mean, Celeste is really the only thing he really has on his team that's doing the damage right now. And there is in Magic Power, not having an economizer is a limited resource.
And he got hit with a Rasp, something that is very mean there. He doesn't have a lot of MP at the moment, like we just said, and Magic does not care. He decides he's taking his MP anyway.
And that's a quarter, so that means Magic's life's almost down completely. So that's the life 3 triggering on magic, which he does have. So a couple dispels from that casting of that, so you still have to hit him one more time here. He's got low health.
Yeah, you don't see that too often. I believe tools can cast life 3, and it happens every once in a while, and it is frustrating. And when he's this low, and with his instant death, he does a lot of dispels, a lot of quarters, which also just takes time. You know, those dispels don't do anything, but they take, you know, a second and a half each, you know, and those add up.
And there comes the quarters out again onto Shadow and Edgar, lowering their healths by another 3/4 health.
Being corrected by chat, magic actually does cast life 3, but typically not on itself. So you do see it every once in a blue moon.
Hey, every time I do a run, he casts it on himself. I don't know what y'all talking about. He always casts it on himself for me. Maybe it's my emulator that makes him do it. I don't know. But we have Haydn and the Haydenites getting murked down by Terra, so the little guys will go away, except for the bottom one, because he absorbs everything and shields everything else, so...
That's right.
Setzer is zombie mode, if I'm not mistaken there, so this is interesting.
Yeah, one of the Hide Knights knows Zombie Claw and must have hit Setzer there. Not that it matters, you know, you just need a merchant pass it, and Setzer is going to be immune to anything that's going to kill him, so worked out perfectly.
Here comes the 10 hits that we mentioned before from the blue guy up front, so, but Fiktah's got plenty of health to manage this. So we'll be moving on to Tier 3 in just a second.
That's right. So Tier 3 has 2 parts. It has Girl and Sleep. Girl will be in the top left, and she only has 10,000 HP, but she absorbs every element in the game. She does a lot of healing, and she will also revive Sleep to full health if you kill Sleep before her. So that you have to kill her first. With Fiktah, all of his offense has been spells at the moment, so you have to pull out a few flares. I think that's the only thing he has going for him that could get around Sleep's elemental weakness.
Well, I would say you could try... Well, yep, there's flare. The only thing I think is, like, you could use Saiyans or Cyan's throw, but he doesn't even have that because he didn't jump him on the team, so...
Exactly.
It's going to be completely just flares only here on... Did you see Bolt 3 just used?
I think so. Yeah, that must have been a
so that's going to
mispress.
completely negate the flare that was just used.
Oof. Yeah, that's a little rough. That must have been either a misclick on...
Palador wouldn't be a bad idea to use.
Yeah, Palador is simply pretty good to protect against that calmness. You know, in this...
Be random, so...
Yeah, you don't know who's going to hit, and if you don't have physical weapons, it's not as much damage as you would think. That is the fake calmness, not the real one.
Yes, calmness is actually 2 different skills in this game, so don't get scared on that.
Yeah, Girl can use a spell called Calmness that just causes sleep, nothing else. I has freaked out every runner at some point when it happens, and they're like, wait, I wasn't ready for this. Not the same Calmness.
So that was Sleep using a Merton on their own. Girl is down because it didn't heal off that ability, so the girl is down. We also know that going into Kefka 4 that they both have Mega Elixirs because of Magi Master. Was that they use Magi Master in the seeds, so that they do know that's aware that they do have it.
I believe Fiktah's already used his. That's how he has so much MP. If I saw that correctly, so I don't think he has that as an option available to him for Fallen 1.
I just saw Merton on the screen. I think he did like quad 9s to everything. I don't know because Celeste here. Let me see this again. Yeah. Okay. I wasn't misseeing that. Okay, so Celeste with Merton's now doing quad 9s to each target except for shorthand. And healing the entire party to almost until full. So
Jones being smart, Jones attacked the face earlier to soften him up. Because one thing is, if you kill all the parts of Tier 1 at the same time with Mertrin, face will counter with Quake. And so you don't want to get too crazy with just casting Mertrin. You want to soften the face up a little bit so you can ensure the face dies for the arms. Very smart play by Jones there.
Does Mega Elixir also give you your MP back?
Yes, it's full HP and MP,
Okay.
which is why he used it earlier.
So he's just got to get through this fight, and there's another Merton. That's not good. Oh, that's everybody but the girl. Oh, no, sorry. I said girls, but Edgar's now Terra. It's confusing. I know. So it does have Phoenix. Phoenix is available. So that's going to res both of them back up again. I believe it's only life 1, though.
That's right. It's not a full heal. Fiktah is really, pulling out all the tricks he knows to try to power on this.
Yeah, but he's wasting MP just being defense. He's got to switch to offense to get through this, and does have Fenrir. I don't know if he's used it or not.
That's right.
Oh my god.
I don't think he's cast it yet, because you see the after image on them if he had.
Just a short note, on the other side of the screen, we have Mertens going up for 7,000 to 5,000 damage on each of the targets on Tier 2 here.
Which is crazy, but since different members of Tier 2 have different finishers, you don't have to prepare too much, but you do have to be a little aware of what order you're killing them in, just because you don't want 10 hits going off the end, sniping Terra or something. This Frozen spell won't do much good if he's just going to Merchant in a second.
So Celeste is completely out of magic on Fiktah's side. He's casting Runic to try to regain the NP back into Celeste so he can cast more spells. So now he can't cast any spells right now until... Okay, no, he's going to cast a spell which is going to be reflected onto Celeste. That's going to give her just enough MP to use Flare or something. Okay, Fire 3 maybe?
Yeah, Fiktah's being very creative here with his MP at the moment.
Oh, that goes, okay, well, Setzer's down. I don't think he's coming back now after this.
It's going to be a little hard.
Because that's a Fenrir cast from Terra. Oh, not Terra, Edgar. God!
It's Terra right now. I don't think he's wrong calling them Terra at the moment. Unfortunately,
no, there's a shrine.
And unfortunately, the Fenrir went off before Shadow hit the ground, so Shadow is not protected from calmness at the moment if they happen to finish off Sleep, who is in the final parts of... He's in his final phase at the moment.
Okay, so Jones is now up to 10 hits for blue, so all of them are down except for Magic. Magic does have life 3 on themselves. I said it, life 3 on Magic again. Does have life 3 on Magic, so they are going to have to kill that one twice, but he is catching up fast.
Ooh, and that's not quite enough.
That's a Meteo.
Yeah, he was hoping that Bolt 2 would be enough to finish off Sleep there, and not quite. He still has some HP left. And this is scary because even if he manages to get past Tier 3, he has no magic for Tier 4. His resources are just a little too thin at this point.
Yeah, and also just to remind everybody, I believe Celeste on Jones's side does have an economizer, I believe, still on her. So he has unlimited Mertens coming out of Celeste on his side.
You gotta wonder if Fiktah didn't sell his economizer, because I don't remember if he did or not. Whether or
he
not...
sold one. He had 2 of them. So,
okay.
And that's okay. So that's moving on to Tier 3, but 2 of them do have low health.
You gotta wonder if Fiktah has to wipe here, if he'll be pulling that economizer out. Oh, and
here comes Calmness, but it hits Shadow, which didn't have the protection on him.
Going into Final Kefka with 1 party member of his active party and no MP. This is very rough.
Oh, well, okay. He is going to get Cyan, who does have Throw. So it has a chance.
That is true. That is some offense if he remembers that. And,
oh, wow.
But unlike Jones, he didn't raise Cyan. So, he didn't level him, so he's not going to be doing too much damage.
And here we are worried about with the Mertens and everything, with Girl being immune to like all the elemental damage. So, no, we're just going to have Terra smash her in the face for 8,000 damage with Ragnarok, so...
Yep.
Oh, Cyan's dead!
Yes, he was dead from a
And the
previous boss
realm is
fight.
poisoned still. Oh my god. Okay, so we got Fallen One coming out, so we're gonna need that Mega Elixir very soon here. It's all the way at the bottom of the list, bud.
Hey, you just keep going deeper. Maybe I have another one. Maybe there's another elixir. You never know. You just keep going down.
Oh, you already used it already. Oh no, must have used it on the tier 3 there.
You used it on tier 2. The regain HP.
Oh no. So
And there's our reset.
there's the reset. Oh man. What a we have a very close match. It's not over yet. Jones, of course, where stranger things can happen. We've seen double ultimas coming out of Kafka and everything, so it's not over yet.
Yeah, this is oh, and another reset.
Oh, another reset.
Fiktah.
I think they forgot to set an Esper.
Or to set an economizer or something. Some other last minute trick that they're trying. Yeah, there you go. There's the economizer.
Yep. So now his Celeste will have unlimited power, but doesn't have the Merton strats as Jones moves on to tier 4.
Yeah, you know, the economizer can really a lot of times get undervalued. I know I normally sell them because for almost every other boss fight in the game, you'll kill the boss before you run out of HP. But with tier 4 Kefka, the economizer suddenly can make a little bit more sense because, like you just saw, if you don't have enough ethers, you just run out of steam. This should hopefully not be a problem this time for Fiktah, as long as Celeste stays alive. You can just keep nuking them with Merchants. Or, well, I guess Fire 3, sorry, he does not have Merchant.
Yeah, he's got Fire 3, and opening Merton from Celeste will heal the rest of the party back up to full health, except for Terra, of course. Let's see if nope, here comes the Fallen Ones. We are gonna swap out. Okay, so swapping out the fire shields for the capper at the end. So I saw one fire shield get swapped out. Here comes the other fire shield getting swapped out. So interesting there. We're switching over the Bolt 3s now.
And they're quicker than Merchant, you know, animation-wise, and this way you have the shields ready for as soon as he gets into screen shaking mode, just to break the shields and do close to quad 9s with each one. Pretty solid strategy.
Yep, because shields do not take into account, I believe, the magic defense there, I believe, so it will do the max damage possible each time. Of course, when you use the shadow, it does have magic power, you're not going to see it, but... Ooh, hyperdrive into Terra, that's not what you want to see.
And as Javanair pointed out in chat, that wipe, unfortunately, is going to remove top 4 time from Fiktah, which is what you need to qualify. I'll have to double check, but I think Jones is in a good position to end up in the top 4. I'm pulling up the times now. Yeah, it looks like as long as Jones doesn't wipe here, he'll end up in 4th place with the current standings. There's still a few more runners that haven't run yet, but unfortunately this will be it for Fiktah.
Quick shout out, thank you, Entity. Those are the Twitch streams for our 2 runners for Fiktah and WR Jones, so please give them a follow after the race or to watch any of the other races they might do in the future.
Yeah, these are both very talented runners. I watch their streams pretty regularly. They have very entertaining and knowledgeable streams, and in Fiktah's case, he also is a piano player and does a lot of live music streams. Plays cool. A lot of Final Fantasy music on top of a bunch of other cool stuff. So give them both a follow. They're great guys.
So that was interesting. We have a lot of funky things coming out on Jones. He's got doing Palador now. We just did a jump down Palador with, and he did an Ultima, but nobody else is on the screen.
Ooh, what a good break for Jones there.
Oh! Double Ultima!
Ooh.
What is happening?
Oh man, Kefka does not want to go down without a fight. I would be curious to hear his logic on the Palador here.
But that last jump's gonna do it. Compel, around 1:31:31. We're gonna get the official time here in a minute.
1:31:36 is the official time.
Whew, still fast time, still a decent time.
Ooh, good race, good race. Let me switch audio back over to Fiktah.
Alrighty. And we will try to get Jones in the chat here a little bit to talk about the end of that last race there. We're going to race here.
Looks like Jones is ready. I'm going to pull him into the channel.
Alrighty. As we see Fiktah going into Tier 2 here, we are joined by our stream race head-to-head winner, Jones. How you doing today, bud?
I am great, thanks. How are you?
Doing good. So 131.36. How do you feel the overall run to go for you?
Well, I feel like considering the stuff that was available, it's not too bad. I would have liked to have a shorter time, but I felt like it was definitely not an embarrassment of riches. So I'm happy with what I got.
No, it definitely was not. I ran this earlier in the week, and GG, you obviously did better than my time. I believe you are third right now of the total runners, so congratulations.
Nice. Oh, thank you.
And or maybe fourth, I think. I'll have to look.
Right,
Sorry. Yeah. But you're right now qualified for the final round, given who has raced at the moment. But it was a tough seed, very magic heavy, and not much else. Walk us through what you felt when you got Merchant and you saw those fire shields for sale.
Yeah, I had been waiting because I saw Merton on that Esper, and I'm like, well, I gotta find something, and I wasn't finding anything. I found that Blizzard Orb and a red jacket, and I'm like, okay, well, that's a start. And then when I lucked into those flame shields, I'm like, you know what, this is it. I'm just going this route, and that's what I'm gonna do. Looking back, I wish maybe I would have saved that other economizer for Terra, but I mean, I think it ended up working out okay. There was really, outside of those tier 3 spells, though, I mean, and Merton, there wasn't really a whole lot of offense. I mean, I found that Rag a little late, so that was decent, but yeah. And no cure spells again.
Well, why do you
I don't know if it's a setting in the ladder flags, but holy moly.
Well, why do you need a cure? You can just Merchant yourself for to heal yourself back up.
Yeah, that's true.
No, that Merchant was really that and the economizer was really the things that swayed in your favor. Fiktah actually entered the final fight way before you did, but he just ran out of MP in tier 3. And all your offense is magic, and you don't have that much MP healing, like I'm sure you saw. You just get to a point where you can't do anything else, and he had to reset out.
Yeah. Yeah, I was happy about the economizer and the healing from Merton, and and I've had seeds like that before where you get to the end and you think everything's going okay, but then, yeah, you run out of MP or just the right person gets floored, and it's just, you can't really keep up with the unskilled final bosses.
I want to talk about a couple of your interesting ideas you had going through the seed. And really early game, going to Opera House is your very first check. What did you have in mind by doing Opera House as the first big check that you did, besides the free checks you did?
Well, my thought was I had already bumped up scaling quite a bit. So, because I had done all 3 of those free checks, I think I was at 5 or 6 checks. So I thought my scaling was pretty high, and I was trying to think about what would be the best way to sort of jumpstart, getting going. Unfortunately, Opera House had a bunch of those madams and veterans, so I ended up having to run away from most of it, but my thought was that if I could fight 3 or 4 trash fights on the way, gain some levels, and then that would just sort of springboard me. That was sort of the thought. It's kind of a gamble because you never know what you're going to get. It's kind of a longer check that you have to fight on the way, but I just thought, let's give it a shot and see if it works out.
Now later on in the seed, you went to the Dream, and you noticed that I believe it was maybe Yamaru, I can't remember who it was, and you were like, nope, because you needed Espers. Big choice on your part, just say nope and get out of there?
Well, I told myself going in that if I saw a character, I wasn't going to do it, and I might have been on the fence if I'd gotten an Esper at that first check, but it was a Cat Hood, I think. So a dead check followed by a character with most of that really long check ahead of me, I was like, nah, I'm already 1 character up. I wasn't going to run through it, for the chance of 1 more Esper at the end. I thought that would probably just end up being a waste of time. I mean, it hurt my heart to have to leave, but, you gotta do what you gotta do.
So
now, Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I want to hear about the Palador at the end there. I was looking over at Fiktah, I missed the beginning of it, and in retrospect, you dodged 2 Ultimas with it, but I want to know your thought process rationale with pulling that guy out.
Well, I knew that I was getting close on taking him down, and sometimes when I stall at the end, because I was thinking, well, maybe I'll just stall here. But a lot of times when I do that, you get hyperdrive twice, or you get a train, or something like that, and I wanted to kind of dodge all that. And I figured, if I wait to fight with everybody, cast Palador, and then queue up skills, I was like, I know that I've got to be close enough that one of these people landing's going to get through it. And, I mean, I dodged a train. I don't know if it was something else, but I thought, even if I eat an Ultima counter, it'll be okay, because it'll only be a couple people. I got lucky and triggered it twice in a row, but... it still worked out.
That's a great thought process. Like you said, like he can double hyperdrive. Sometimes I think I've even seen him triple hyperdrive before, and you might not even survive to the next Goner charge. And so that is a very creative way of handling that problem.
Just really quick, going to interrupt here. We're watching Fiktah trying to do his run again. Running into the same problem, running out of magic power on his characters. Celeste does have the economizer this time. Having a hard time trying to put down Girl here, but again, running into the magic power issues once again.
I take back anything bad I've ever said about Economizer. It does have its uses every once in a while. I sold both of mine in this seed, and I didn't have to reset like Fiktah, but I definitely ran into the exact same problem of being very creative with MP.
Yeah, I hardly ever use an economizer, but I knew I saw it pretty early, and I knew that I had natural magic on Celis, and I saw that my skills were kind of So I'm like, well, I'm gonna just hope I land into some good magic, and my thought was I would probably only use it at the beginning. I was hoping maybe I'd get a tier 3 spell or something and just cheese the beginning with a bunch of level 1 bolt, or one MP cost bolt 3s or something. And then it ended up being the thing that carried throughout the whole thing.
So yeah, any thoughts so far? Right now it looks like you're in the clear for the last round, but I think 2 people have not run yet. So obviously it's not locked in yet. But what are your feelings about this race about the ladder so far?
Well, I've liked the ladder a whole lot. I think that just this format's really cool, and it works really well for someone like me who's busy in real life and doesn't have a lot of time to join, like regular sync races and stuff. So it's been really nice there. Also, having the same flag set every time. At first, I thought that was going to be annoying, or at the very least, it was going to be boring. But it turns out this particular flag set it's so different, even though it's so close to standard. I don't know what it is, but it always throws you for a loop. So it's been fun to run it. This race in particular, this one here, I mean, like I said, it was kind of a stingy seed, but and then it was getting really annoying at the end where I was like, I just need one more Esper and everything's dead, or it's another character. Come on now, but rando's gonna rando,
I completely agree with you. I've been very happy with the ladder. I know I had a great time. It was different enough from the Colosseum, with the flags being the same each time, but it still was. The 12 weeks went by fast. Like, I had a good time with it, and I can't wait until season 2. And can't wait to race you a bit more. You and I were very close in the leaderboard, so I know you. I'm gunning for you next season. That's what I'm calling.
Well, there you go. Well, I'll be here. I'll be ready.
And Fiktah is entering tier 4. Before we switch over to that, is there anything else you'd like to say, Jones?
Just a big shout out to the community. The Worlds Collide community is awesome. So if you're watching this and you're not part of the Discord, you should definitely join. It's amazing. All the racers, the admins, the mods, everybody's great. And there's all kinds of great tournaments like this, and it's super fun. So I would say that to anybody who's watching that isn't already part of the community, and then just a big thank you to you guys and everybody else on the Restream team that makes these things happen. I like to play the races and go fast and all that stuff, but we couldn't do it without you all. So big thank you to you.
Well, thank you. And we wouldn't be able to do this if you guys weren't running. So it's it's a good community effort all around. Hopefully, it's put on a show that everyone's been entertained with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. All right, man. I guess with that, if there's not anything else, have a great night and GG
Thanks.
again.
Yeah, thanks.
Have a good night,
you too,
buddy.
and good luck to Fiktah. Go, go, go.
Yeah, and so Fiktah's on tier 4 here.
Yeah, but we're having difficulty. He's having difficulties again. He already used his Mega Elixir again before getting to tier 4. So everybody's down to 1 HP again here in the Kefka battle. Trying to sparingly use the NP as much as possible. Edgar using the morph to try to get out as much damage as possible going into this. Also already blowing Phoenix, so Phoenix is also off the table here as one character goes down.
Fiktah very wisely using some weight tricks to try to get another move out of Edgar with that morph.
But just transfers back just too late.
Yeah, but you know, he got an extra hit in with them. That was definitely smart. You know, one nice thing before Kefka starts charging, he doesn't have any multi-target attacks, and so you can safely be at 1 HP with everyone before the Goner charge because he can't kill everyone at once. So as long as you get everyone alive, you know, now of course, if he doesn't kill him here or powder through, a Goner will wipe his team.
Well, that was a little early on the Palador, I think. You could have
Yeah.
waited a couple seconds there. I think stresses might be getting to him a little bit.
Yeah, I would have waited a tiny bit more with that one. So we'll see what kind of happens with it.
That's one character back in. There's 2 characters back in before.
Ooh.
3 characters back in before. Revenger before.
I didn't even know he could Revenger while the screen was shaking. That's interesting.
Yeah. X potion out, so okay. So Celeste will survive this Goner. Everybody's back down before it went out. Hyperdrive going out before you can use Goner.
I wonder if we've hit a glitch here. He shouldn't be able to counter with anything during this time.
Oh, so maybe we just glitched it and he's not able to cast Goner.
Yeah, it looks
yeah,
like...
okay, so Javinator's saying that, yeah, Palador breaks Goner.
Oh, it looks like Goner actually already went, but they were in the air. So if no one's on the ground when an attack is cleared, it doesn't do the animation. And it looks like it just... It looks like we're in the second phase. It's just the only thing broken is the screen shaking for no reason now.
Okay, so it cast Goner, it just didn't trigger. Okay.
Yeah, so they're in the next phase. It's like Goner triggered. Okay. It just... hope everyone likes the screen shaking over and over again. It's like we're watching Cloverfield.
Yep, nobody dive underneath their desk. This is not an earthquake. It might be a giant laser coming through the sky coming at you. Here comes the recharge again.
Alright, so now we're back on regular logic.
So now we're okay. So now we're back in the swing of things.
Yeah, he's looking for that last little bit of offense. I don't know if he's broken the Thunder Shield yet or not.
No, he hasn't broken any shields, I don't believe. He still hasn't equipped, but he kind of needs it for defense here, so...
Nothing he's doing is Thunder-based. So we'll see in a second what ends up happening.
Well, he's choosing Edgar and Celeste, basically, to survive this attack. Shadow and Kane, or Cyan, or you want to call him, he chose not to have them survive this one. So, it'll just be Edgar and Celeste after this. Half health each.
Oh, and here he attacks trigger queued up. So, is he going to counter any of them?
Yeah, here comes a flare. Yeah, I think he's YOLOing right now. See if he can get the kapow.
Oh, and it worked out. He managed to do it. He messaged in the race chat that he thought about forfeiting at the end there, but he ended up pulling it out in the end. It's not winner. So good for him for getting the last little lick of damage in.
45, 46.
Ooh, good game to Fiktah. That was a rough end.
And actually being able to have to run through the Kefka 4 battles twice and still getting a time under 150 is impressive.
Yeah, exactly. The Kefka fights, they are long. Even if you have great offense, they are long. And wiping to it and still pulling a sub 150 is nothing to be ashamed of. He showed everyone why he is ranked as highly as he is on the ladder leaderboard. He is he's very good and managed to do some very creative things in that final fight.
Okay, while we're waiting for Fiktah to give a breakdown of his run, don't forget, everybody, if you want to run these seeds and stuff on your own, don't forget to head over to ff6wc.com. We have information how to get the emulators, how to make your seeds. We have beginner seeds for those that just want to start out and play the game. And this is just a refreshing way to play Final Fantasy 3 or 6, depending on where you were born. And it's a refreshing way to play the game, and it's really, really fun. It's one of the more popular randomizers that are out there right now. I believe Fiktah is standing by to be pulled in here.
Yeah, let's get him in.
There we go.
There he is. Fiktah. GG, man.
Hello. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yep, we can hear you, good. GG out of you. Good tenacity there to stick through there to try to get the end Kefka there.
Thank you. Yeah, I figured, it's top 4, right? So if I just have to beat 6 other people or 5 other people. So if my time's good enough, who knows? I might make it.
Let's go through your run a little bit just real quick. You found 10 espers pretty early, actually, but you're only down to 4 characters. Like, what was your thinking about how do I get these last 2 characters on the team?
Yeah, I got really lucky that the last 2 characters were at Daryl's Tomb and where was the other one? I don't remember now.
Yeah, it was both. It was actually both. It was the Mount Zozo was the other one for the realm.
Yeah, because if it wasn't that, I would have MTech 3 and Kefka and Narsh, and I was not gonna do either of them.
Because the time, like, it was gonna take extra time to get to those places, or
yeah, extra time, and I made a decision not to do it earlier. So I mean, to go back and do it would cost me a lot of time. But even then, I think I had requirements at around 53, 54, which is pretty early in my books.
Yeah, you took the dragon. You actually entered Kefka's Tower in a sub one hour. What was magic power on Celeste there at the end? Did you ever look? Because she was like dropping 99 nines there.
Yeah, I had magic power +1 Esper on her for a little bit. I didn't load it on her from the beginning. That would have been the right call, I think. I didn't need all that magic. I spent a lot of time in Esper management in the menu, kind of distributing and teaching everyone Bolt 3 and Ice 3. I don't think I needed to do any of that. What I should have focused on is Cure. Starlit would have helped. Seraphim would have helped. I only had 1 elixir. So, yeah, it was a rough final fight both times.
Yeah, I don't want to bring it up, but yeah, having 2 tough tier 3s in a row and having to use that mega elixir before getting the Kefka with the fallen one and everything. Like we saw you like pausing and using Palador to get around the Goner. Like you used a lot of tricks to try to get around that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of practice. So I did what I had to do. I actually missed the Palador to bypass Fallen One, and now that I think about it, I'm glad I did, because bypassing Goner is more important than Fallen One.
You hear that, kids? Practice makes perfect at home. You got it?
Yeah, and you're exactly right, because after Fallen One, until he starts searching for Goner, he has no multi-hit attacks. So being at 1 HP sucks, but he can only kill you one at a time. So you can always revive people as he kills you.
Right.
Yeah,
well, I got really lucky. I could have taken another wipe there on Kefka. It was not a great fight once again. I think what hurt me the most was Tier 2 not having mute. I'm not sure if Jones had mute or anyone else did, or Siren, but
not that I know of.
Definitely hurt me. Magic was not kind.
Yeah, as someone who also ran through that seed, I was in a similar situation with you. No mute and only level 3 magic and fighting for MP at the end. And it is it's definitely rough having to deal with that. Like, you pulled out some creative things, and it was such a heartbreaker that it not working out the first time. When you were setting up for it before you got the Kefka's Tower, was this a possibility you foresaw that MP and magic might be our problem come the final fight?
A little bit, and I had the economizer. If I had equipped that before going into the fight, into final Kefka, I may have been okay. Yeah, either way, it was still going to be really tough. I did have that Man-Eater offering option. I debated on before going into Kefka's Tower on shopping and trying to find an item to pair with that offering. That would have helped a lot. If I could find a Valiant knife or an ammo weapon, or even a sniper, it would make my life a lot easier.
Yeah.
Then I wouldn't have to worry about magic or MP management that much.
Yeah, walk us through it a bit. I think you bought 2 offerings before the final fight, and obviously your second time through used Man-Eater with it, but we were a little bit confused picking up the second offering there. Was there a reason for it, or was it just in case you found something in Kefka's Tower?
In case I got lucky and got Valley knives or ammo weapons or something, but I had the money. I wasn't gonna buy anything else, so I just bought 2.
Fair.
Got money, spend it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have anything else. Is there anything else you want to add, Fiktah?
Not really. I'm gonna go bury my head and swear in a pillow.
Oh,
Well,
no, you did great, man. Don't worry about
I
that.
will say though, Fiktah. I will say though, you entered the tower like over 10 minutes ahead in front of Jones. The big difference is Jones was able to take advantage of the Merton from Phoenix and found a stockpile of fire shields in a shop. And that was the big difference in the end game, was that Jones was running Merton strats on all of his characters. He had fire shield on 3 of the characters. So that was the difference maker.
Yeah, that would have helped for sure.
And you had easily had a 10-15 minute lead in the tower. And he was just able to catch up on the unfortunate tier 3. That's what had him pass you at the end.
Right. Yeah.
It was just luck of the draw by finding those fire shields.
Yeah, that's a lucky find for sure. Yeah. Where was it, by the way?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
I don't remember where it was. I'm taking a look, but I don't know if it's actually in the notes or not.
Albrooks, maybe? 'Cause I skip Albrook.
It might have been Albrook Word of Ruin.
Yeah. Well, GG to Jones. Yeah, he made the right play.
It was great seeing a head-to-head matchup of you guys. Like, as a Discord community member, I know I was looking forward to this because you guys pointed out earlier this week that you guys had never raced head-to-head before.
It was Vector World of Balance is where it was.
Oh.
Oh my goodness. I purposely did not go to the armor shop there. I went to the weapon shop.
It's, unless you're looking for elemental protection, there's not a lot of reasons to go to a armor shop, so I probably would have made the same play you did.
Yeah, that's on me because for some reason I thought that elemental shields were not allowed in the shops. So I just said, forget it. Why would I check armor shops? That's on me. Not
must have been
flags.
You must have been drafting too much, man. That I think that's one of the draft options.
Oh no. All right, well, GG out of you, bud. Again, you show everybody you have tenacity. You got through the end of it. So again, good job out of you.
Yeah, for real. GG, Fiktah. You did a great job. It was a tough seed.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, you guys have a good night.
Yep.
Yep, you too.
See you, man.
All right.
I think that does about it, right?
Yeah, that just about wraps it up there. What a great race. We saw a come from behind victory head-to-head and getting into the top 4 currently out of Jones. Using the Merton strats, finding those fire shields like we just mentioned. Great race all around out of both of the runners here.
Yeah, it was a tough seed, like we said. It seems like it's it's easy at the beginning when you just have level 3 spells, and that does make the middle of the game very easy. But if you don't find anything else, you got to start getting creative with your MP. And Jones was able to show that off with the Mertrin and Economizer setup, and that really was the difference maker in the end.
Alrighty, we're going to wrap things up here. I am Saberwolf. I am joined by Seto Kaiba, who also did the restreaming of this. Again, shout out to Brianna for doing the tracking for us. Without the volunteers doing this, these streams would not happen. Of course, thank Fiktah, thank Jones. Follow them on their Twitch channels if you want to see them run more of these. Or, of course, one of them plays piano apparently, which I didn't know, but we'll start watching that.
Oh, you totally should. He's amazing at it.
Make sure to follow us. Go to our website ff6wc.com. You can run these seeds yourself, your own randomizers. We do have beginners where we teach you how some of the game works and like that, and various versions that we have of this game. And again, join us in Discord. We have a great community on Discord that's more than willing to help. If you throw a question in there in Discord in our beginner section, you'll probably get an answer probably within the hour. So again, join us on there. Once again, I'm Saberwolf with Kaiba. Thank you for joining us, and have a good night.
Have a great night, everyone.